Alright, so we're going to be replacing the screen on this 13.3-inch MacBook Air. This is a model A1932, late 2018. So we're going to need a P5 or Pentalobe 1.2 screwdriver. We'll also likely need a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, T8 Torx 8 screwdriver, T3 Torx 3 screwdriver, and possibly a T4 Torx 4 screwdriver. We'll see. All right, so first thing we're going to do is undo all the screws on the bottom. These are the P5 or Pentalobe 1.2 screws. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way you do that is put the flat side down on your desk in the pattern you remove them. So this rectangular pattern, just put it like that on your desk. All right. If this video helps you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, other than that, let's continue with the repair. If you haven't already, I didn't mention, but you want to make sure to shut down your MacBook. Alright, make sure it's completely off and not in sleep mode or anything like that. You want it completely powered off. Alright, let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Okay, just like this. I believe I might have worked on one of these a little bit early, like less than a couple weeks ago, but let's see. Alright, so we got all the screws out. Next we're going to remove the bottom cover. I go from the back here with my fingers or fingernails, and then I pull up and I kind of just wiggle this as I pull, and the clips will pop out just like that, and then carefully lift this out. So you can see we got the bottom cover off. There's no fan. Oh, actually, sorry. There is a fan in this one. So I'm going to clean out the dust. I was going to say I'm not sure how so much dust is getting in here, but yeah, so the way this design works, it looks like the fan, it gets sealed with this here, and it basically pulls air from both sides and blows it out here. But I feel it's kind of a bad design because this heatsink isn't really sufficient enough to get the air. Usually you want a heat pipe with the heatsink directly over the fan because suction force isn't as good as the direct blowing force, especially since it's pulling air from both sides. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to clean the dust out of here and I'll be back. Let me make sure it's completely off. I already checked it was off, but this model I think turns itself back on. Yeah, this model, the moment you open it, it turns itself back on. So you are going to want to make sure that when you work on this, that you make sure to keep it closed until you disconnect the battery. So right now it's booting up. I'm going to wait till it completely finishes and then I'm going to shut it off. And yeah. Alright, so let me shut this down. And well, I'm probably going to have to use an external monitor or just force shut it off. We'll just force shut it off by holding the power button. Alright, until it turns off completely. There we go. Alright, and let's actually disconnect the battery first to be extra safe. So I'm going to zoom in here. There's nothing replaceable or upgradable in here in the normal sense that you can just pull things out. The RAM and the SSD is soldered to the motherboard, so you can't even replace that even if you wanted to. And if something happens, then your data is pretty much gone. Alright, so on this model, they have this little button here, and that is a battery reset or battery drain button. So we're going to push that. I'm using the corner of this plastic tool to just press and hold that to drain residual power. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to disconnect the battery here. So we're going to get underneath this plastic. Okay, lift this plastic up, and we got to peel it back a little bit. Then you have this little raised part. I just use my fingernail to kind of pull on that. Okay, and I kind of go left to right to kind of pull on both sides. Wow, it's stuck in there pretty good. Is the adhesive? Okay, no, the adhesive's not stuck to it. So we just gotta keep pulling on it. I'm gonna use my thumb. There we go. And now we got the battery disconnected. All right, so there we go. Battery's disconnected. We're gonna get that on top. And then we're gonna press and hold this little gold button again just to make sure any residual power is gone. You can actually feel it click. All right, we're gonna hold that for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. Then we're gonna do the same thing with the power button just to make sure as well. Okay. All right, we'll hold it a few more seconds and that should be good. All right, let's open this up now, and then we're gonna press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds just to make sure, completely sure that there's no residual power when we remove the screen. All right, hold it a few more seconds. All right, so I'm gonna take this outside and then I'm gonna clean the dust off and I'll be back. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So we cleaned this up. You can see it's a lot cleaner now. All right, a lot less dust. All right, the fan is all cleaned up. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take all these components out. Let's zoom out a bit. Oops. Sorry, my customer message and it popped up while I was zooming out. Okay, so we're gonna first focus on the T5 or Torx 5 screws here. So let's get the T5 screws out. All right, I need to organize my screwdrivers so I don't get confused. Okay. All right, so T5 screws, we got these screws that we're gonna remove. Maybe I should actually zoom in closer here and then move the computer around so you can see. So we're gonna remove the two T5 screws here from the antenna. Right, again, keep all these screws in order. Okay, we got those two out. Then we're gonna work our way over. We're gonna remove the two T5 screws here, okay? These are much taller screws. Okay. I mean, they're not longer, but the part that sticks out is taller. Oh, somebody stripped this. We might have to use a larger, I don't know if I'm gonna have to use a special tool to remove that. I'm gonna switch to a T6 and see if I can remove this. Wow, that's badly stripped. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this screw out. It should be a T5, but somebody must have tried to open this before and damaged it. So that's not coming out. I'm gonna try a screw extractor tool and see if I can get it out using that. Let's see what we can do here. This one's too big. Okay, I'm gonna get an actual screw extractor tool, and I'm gonna try and remove that. The customer apparently somehow stripped that. I don't know if they brought it somewhere else that stripped it, but let me go get another tool and see if we can get that out. All right, I'll be back. All right, so we're back. I have this screw extractor tool. You got this whole set. All right, these are mini screw extractors, and we're gonna try and use that to get it out. To use this, you actually have to use a drill. So let's go ahead and get this. Let me see which setting. Okay, so we're gonna use this and try and get that screw out. I don't think it's moving. Okay. This is extra risky because now pieces of broken metal are going to be in there. The customer didn't tell me about this, but we'll see. I'm going to try and get this out the best I can. I'm using the drill side of it now, which is going to drill a deeper hole into the screw, and we'll see if we can somehow get it out. Doesn't seem like it's coming out. I don't know. This screw doesn't seem like it's coming out, so we'll try the other side again. It's not grabbing into the screw. So I'm not too sure what we're going to do about this. I'm going to probably have to message the customer and let them know, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this out. I'll try a little bit more. don't think any more of the metal is being removed. I might have to use the larger one. Let's try the other side again. See if we can extract it. Doesn't seem like it's coming out, so I don't know. I'm gonna try the larger, slightly larger screw extractor and see what we got. See if we can get it out using that. The larger one should get a better grip on it, so let's see. Looks like it's just shaving off the metal. I don't know what we're gonna do about this. It's like it's permanently stuck in there. Let's try the extractor part again. It doesn't look like it's gonna come out. All right, I'm gonna check with the customer, see what they want to do, because at this point, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it out. I'm gonna have to use some other tools or something to get it out, and we'll see. All right, I'll be back in a bit. Gonna contact my customer and see what they want to do. All right, we'll see you in a bit. All right, well, according to the customer, nobody messed with the inside, so I don't know why it's all screwed up. We're going to try the extractor tools a little bit more and see what we can do. So I'm going to try the small one again, so I don't think that's going to really do much. Okay, let's go ahead and continue trying to extract this screw. Okay, a lot more of the metal is being shaved off, but I don't think it's going to help. Let's go ahead and switch over to the extraction side. I'm probably going to have to blow this thing out a lot to make sure there's no metal shavings left in here. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and try and get this out again. No luck. All right, we'll try the larger one again. Let's try the extraction side first and see if it makes any difference. Oh, okay, we got it out. All right, so we were able to remove that screw. That was a pain. Again, I am going to take this outside and use the powerful air blower to try and make sure that there's no metal shavings in there, because we don't want any metal shavings in the computer. Otherwise it can short it out and we might not be able to turn it back on. I'm going to see if I can find a screw that's very similar in size to this. I don't think I have one with the top, with that taller top part, but I might have a screw that matches this. Alright, so I'm going to clean this up and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So I found a screw that seems like it'll work. So here's the comparison, if you can see it. Alright, so basically it's just missing that taller top piece. But anyways, we're going to use that. We're going to toss the broken one. Okay, let's go ahead and continue removing the screws. We got 2 more T5 screws over here. Just going to remove those as well. Again, you want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. Alright. Even if they look similar, it's a good idea to keep the same screws in order. All right, next we're going to remove the wireless antenna screws. So let's go ahead and see if a T4 will fit, but most likely it's going to be the T3. It kind of fits. Okay, it kind of fits, but I think we're going to have to use the T3. So this, it definitely won't fit here. And it definitely won't fit here. So for the wireless antennas, we might actually need to use a T4 because it actually fits pretty well. Let me see the T3 if it goes in deeper. Yeah, that's too wobbly. I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty loose. So you actually want to check and make sure that the screwdriver isn't too loose. So we're going to use a T4 for the wireless antennas. All right, here we go. Again, your screws might be slightly different, so you want to make sure if it's too loose or too tight or doesn't sit in properly, make sure you use the right screwdriver. Don't just go along with what I'm doing on mine. Sometimes you might have to use the T3 or a different one for your own model. All right, so we'll use the T4 for that. We're going to switch over to the T3. Most likely we're going to have to transfer over these small metal plates as well as the larger one. The larger one is for the actual LCD LVDS connector. Let's go ahead and disconnect the antennas. I go using my fingernails. You can use plastic tools or whatever you want. So if you want, you can use a tool. Just get underneath the tail, and you might have to have something to help push against it, and just pop the tail straight up just like that. But usually I use my fingernails just like that. There we go. All right, so we're going to use the T3 now, or Torx 3 screwdriver, and get these smaller metal plates off. Okay, just get those two screws out. Depending on your supplier or the screen, sometimes it'll already come with these metal plates, so keep that in mind. You want to check your screen and see if you even need to take them out. I didn't check my screen yet, so I'm not sure, but anyways, we're going to take them out. All right, we're going to take the two screws out that are holding the LCD LVDS connector in place as well. Okay, remove both of those. There we go. And then we're going to remove that metal plate. Again, keep all the screws in order. I'm going to remove the two screws for this metal plate and set those aside as well. Okay. Here we go. Get the metal plate. Okay, so next thing, we're going to disconnect the LCD LVDS connector. Just hold down the board here, get underneath, and pop that up. Oh, it actually already came off pretty easy by itself. We're going to pull this back a little bit. You don't want to bend it too far because you don't want to damage that. And then we're going to remove the wireless antenna board. So let's zoom out a bit. And maybe a little bit more. Okay. So to remove the wireless antenna board, I just get underneath here. There's actually a plastic piece there, and we're just going to lift this up. It might be stuck a bit, so you kind of have to wiggle it and just slowly keep pulling on it. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty tough to pull this out. It doesn't just flop out. We're going to do the same thing with the other side, lift it up a bit. All right, you can see it's also coming up, but the antenna board is stuck. So we're just going to have to put a little bit more force pulling on it. All right, if you can go from both sides and lift up. And kind of want to wiggle it around to get it up. Okay, wow, this is stuck pretty strong. What's going on here? All right, I'm going to work my way over. All right, I felt part of it pop up. I'm going to go over to this side and do the same thing. Pull it up. Come on, let go. Wow, this thing is holding really strong. So this board is going to come up. Let's see if we can pull from here. So I'm going more from the center here to actually grab where the antennas are and pulling that up. Okay, it came up even more. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how strong this is holding into place. I'm going to go over to this side and grab from over here and pull this part up, and there we go. Okay, I think we got the whole thing out. All right, then you're going to thread this through. Oh, it's still stuck on something. Is it stuck on the LCD cable? Okay, so get this out. Just like that, and there we go. We got the wireless antenna board out. Again, you do want to make sure this cable isn't getting in the way, so make sure to pull that back. All right, so We're almost there. We're gonna now remove the rest of the screen. Let me see if I can show this. I'm gonna try and tilt this over a bit. Let's see if it'll stay this way. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna open up the screen, okay, completely until it stops. All right, you don't wanna pull too hard. And then we're gonna lay this on the edge of our desk with the screen over the edge, okay, just like that. And now we're gonna remove the T8 or Torx 8 screws from the hinges. All right, so let's go ahead now and remove the 3 screws from each side. So there's 6 screws total holding the hinges in place. I'm gonna remove all 6 of those. You also want to get some thread locker, or some thread locker to put when you put these screws back to hold them tighter. It's not 100% like absolutely necessary, but it does help prevent the hinges from coming loose. And if the hinges come loose, they can cause damage, but as long as you keep that in mind and check them if they come loose to tighten them, you should be fine. But anyways, let's go ahead and finish removing all 6 screws. Okay, we got all 6 hinge screws. Now we're going to let the screen fall to about 90 degrees, and then we can go ahead and lift the screen up and out, just like that. And there you go. So we got the old screen out. Let's go ahead now and get the replacement. Let's see if hopefully the replacement is good. So we got it from Amazon. I'm just going to tear this thing open. Okay. Alright, so they shipped the box in a box, so this is the box with the actual screen in it. Okay. Get some stuff out of the way. Excuse me. Alright, so we're going to cut this thing open now. Let me actually move this out of the way for the time being. Okay. There. Alright. So let's go ahead and cut this screen open. Alright, cut here as well, cut here as well. Wow, they put a lot of tape on this thing. Cut all of this out, other side, cut all of that out. Alright, there we go. Open this thing up. Alright, so the screen comes packed with a bunch of bubble wrap. We're going to toss the box aside now. Okay, I'm just going to roll this bubble wrap up so it doesn't get in the way. Okay. Like this. Alright, we're almost there. Alright, so it's also packed in this foam. Depending who you buy it from, it'll be different, so keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and get this out. So they put some tape holding it on all these sides. I'm going to take that out as well. Take that out as well. Alright, so here, is it stuck? What is it stuck on? Okay, there we go. So here's what the screen looks like. We're going to, of course, peel off this tape here. So you want to be careful. Peel that up. Okay, I don't know how they only put adhesive on the edges of it, but there's only adhesive on the edge, so we're gonna get that and stick it back out of the way. Here we go. Make sure the hinges are open all the way. If you can't open them by hand, you can take the screwdriver with the T8 and you can use that to help turn that. Okay. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get the MacBook Air and put the new screen in. So we're gonna put that there. Alright, and we're gonna slowly lower this into place. Alright, just like this. Okay, lower the screen in. There we go. Now you're gonna want to hold the screen up and then get the you don't have to get all 6 screws in if you're gonna put the thread locker. I like to just put the 2 innermost screws, and I don't want to have them too tight because we want to make sure to align the screen before we tighten all the screws. So I loosen it a little bit after I get them in. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we're going to close the screen carefully, slowly. Okay, just like that. Then you want to check, make sure, try and get these gaps as centered as possible. So I don't know if you can see, but there's gaps here between the LCD and the what do you call, the shell and the center part. Doesn't seem to want to center completely, maybe because I have to loosen this a little bit more. So let's loosen it. I'm going to tighten it first to make sure the hinge is down all the way, and then loosen it. And doesn't look like we're able to change the alignment on this much. Oh, there we go. Okay, I guess the magnets are too strong holding it. So there we go. We're going to center this. Make sure the edges are all lined up right, that it's flush here. Okay, you don't want this to be sticking out. All right, seems good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these first, just to make sure it doesn't move around. Okay, there we go. It's a little bit less to one side than I'd like, so I'm going to loosen it again and try and get it more centered if possible. Just a smidge. Okay, that might be good. All right, let's... It affects, when I just move it a tiny bit to tighten it, the alignment changes a tiny bit, so it's really hard to get it 100% centered. That doesn't need to be 100% perfect, but just get it as close as you can. There we go. That's probably as good as I can get it. Let's go ahead and tighten this up. And make sure that's flush and tighten that up. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to add some red thread locker to the remaining screws and get them all tightened into place. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, get the red thread locker. And we're going to just put a little bit. You don't want to put a crazy amount, not even a drop, just enough to kind of get a little bit of the threads coated. Kind of like that. All right, let's go ahead and get it in. And we're going to do that with all the 6 screws. So after we get the other 4 screws in, we're going to get, or I guess you can do 2 first, and then you can pull the other one out. Okay. Once you get those 2 screws in, you can go ahead and pull the other one out and get the thread locker on there. Okay. Just like that. Now we're going to do the same with the other side. Get those screws in. Okay. Just like that. Get that screw in. And get the last one. There's still a little of the blue thread locker on there, so it will kind of help. You don't have to put too much thread locker. Alright, that in. Get this other screw back out. And then, last one. Go. Tighten it up. Alright, now that we got all 6 of those screws into place, we are going to turn this back around. We're going to get the wireless antennas back in here. So let me zoom in a bit here for you guys. Okay, so make sure this board is going up through the middle. Okay, want to make sure to get that up, and then make sure this is going around the outside. Okay, we're going to now drop this down into place. Alright, just like this. Can be a little tricky. Alright, once you get one side in, we're going to push this down. There are little clips in here that help hold that into place if you're wondering how it works. So there are actually clips that kind of grab onto a metal part underneath. So right now they're not locking in right. Let me see if I can actually show you that on the wireless antennas. So here you can see, oops, here you can see these metal parts here. Come on, focus, there. So these little dimples that stick out of the metal help hold it onto this metal piece down there. Okay, and that's how it holds into place. So we're trying to get it to lock into place, but for some reason it's not wanting to go. Let's see here. If you can't really get it to sit completely because the metal pieces are attached to this side, you can actually just put the screws and that will help hold that down into place, and then you can try and push it. And then the way you test it is you try and lift it, but as you can see it's just coming out, so I don't know why it's not lining up right. Could be this metal piece is not going on properly. Let's try again. Okay, I might end up using the screws to tighten it into place and hold that, so let's actually do that. We're going to switch over now to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver again. Alright, and let's actually put these screws here. So we're going to put this one here. I'm loosely fitting it, I'm not tightening them in yet. Okay, just like that, and this will kind of hold it into place. Alright, there we go. That will hold it into place for better alignment. Alright, let's see if now we can push this down. I don't know why it doesn't seem to want to go in right. Get in there. Let's see if I can see from this side. Okay, we can actually see it from here. So if you want, you can use a tool to push this into place. So it's supposed to go into this little gap down there. Okay. Something not lining up right. It looks like it's okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and try and push that in. Alright, I think it's going in. Push that down and... Alright, it seems a lot tighter now, so we should be good. If you want, you can use a bigger tool to try and help push that into place. There we go. I felt it click in. Alright. Let's get a close look up to confirm. Alright. Should be good. You can see that it's going in there. Alright. So let's go ahead now and put this large board down, and we're going to get the other two T5 screws in. Again, one of them was stripped. So you want to, I mean, yours probably isn't stripped. I don't know why this one was, but anyways, let's go ahead and get this screw in. And I like to loosely fit them first just to make sure everything is lined up. And then while you're kind of holding it into place, you can go ahead and tighten everything down. So we'll tighten that down. Alright, let's go ahead now and tighten these other two over here down. Hopefully I had it all in view of the camera. Alright, I'm going to move over here and get these two down. This one and this one. There we go. Alright, so we got all the T5 Torx 5 screws in. Let's go ahead and reconnect the LCD LVDS connector. You might have to push it slightly downwards that way as you're kind of getting it to go in to get it to line up right. And then click that in. Alright, you can see it's staying in place on its own. I'm going to now switch back to the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver, and we're going to get all these metal plates back on. Make sure these metal plates are in. Let me actually zoom in here a bit. Okay, so here we go. Alright, we're going to get the LCD LVDS connector in first. Or not the connector, but the cover. get that screw. We're just loosely fitting it first. And the reason we do that is so that we could easily like maneuver this to get it into the right spot. All right, and then you can go ahead and tighten it down. Just like that. All right, and let's get the other two metal plates in. Same thing, we're just going to loosely fit the first screw. Then we'll get the second one in. Okay. Just like that. Get that lined up. And there we go. Tighten that down. Tighten that down. All right, last two screws over here for the metal plate. Then we're going to go ahead and do the wireless antennas. Okay, loosely fit that. This, and tighten that down. And tighten that down. All right, now we're going to get the wireless antennas. Just get them all lined up. You want to make sure they're in place. The way you know is you can't really move them around, and then you can go ahead and push it down. You want to make sure, you might have to push it a little bit. All right. Getting some like dust and stuff over here. Okay, we got all of that. I'm going to switch over now to the T4. Again, yours might use T3, so keep that in mind. Don't just follow along. I'm going to use the T4 or Torx 4 screwdriver and get this screw into place. You want to check, see what is actually getting a tight fit on the screws, okay? Get that screw in, and we'll tighten that down. And we'll tighten this one down. There we go. All right, so we got all those screws in. We're going to now reconnect the battery connector. So to reconnect this, pretty simple. Just make sure this plastic piece is up and out of the way. Okay, then we just pull it back slightly to get it lined up. Make sure it goes underneath there, and then push that in. There we go. Put that piece back on top. Now we're just going to put the bottom cover back on. Let's zoom out here. Okay. Bottom cover back on. Click it into place. We're going to test it before we put all the screws back in. So let's flip it over now. Open it up. Usually it's not going to turn on until we plug it in. So right now, nothing is happening. That's normal. Let's go ahead now and get the charger and plug it in. All right. This always scares me on the MacBooks because, yeah. All right, so let's see. Okay, right now nothing. Power button. Still nothing. Let's try the other one. There we go. It's turning on. I feel the trackpad clicking. So we should see, there we go. We got the Apple logo. I don't know why the other charge port didn't work, but it's going right now. Okay, so we're going to give it some time, let it boot up. And then what we're going to want to do, log in. Oh, the screen just did a weird like greenish blue color. So I'm going to restart one time just to make sure. The only thing is the restart button is blocked by this. So I'm going to pull this out of the way and we're going to restart one time. Okay, let's actually pull this off all the way because this can sometimes affect the light sensor. So we're going to pull that out all the way. Let's see if it's going to do that same weird bluish green thing. Looks okay so far. All right, didn't do the bluish green thing. I'm going to move this out of the way so you don't see the user accounts. And I'm going to have to ask him his username or his password so that I can test it. But it is working. So let's go ahead and close this up and we'll just put the screws back. You do want to test the camera. Also make sure that the lights, the keyboard lights, depending on your light settings, if you're outside or if the light is bright, then it should actually brighten your screen automatically unless you turned off the auto brightness. Also, check if the keyboard backlight works okay. If it detects you're in a bright area, then the keyboard backlight will be disabled. So make sure when you're testing that you want to be in a dark room to make sure that the keyboard backlight is working. But other than that, that's pretty much all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices. Again, if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computer repairs, so I don't actually own these devices. Keep that in mind. But anyways, again, hopefully it helped. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.